And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Enchanters Odyssey. This is an expansion for Enchanters. This is the big box Enchanters here that holds everything for the game. I've always been a big fan of Enchanters. I like the idea of mixing some decks together, this whole shuffling a bunch of decks together, and then you build this one amazing artifact and fight monsters and try to kill dragons and things like that. It's an entertaining game, and this is a more stuff type expansion. 6 factions, banners, event cards, an overlord. Let's take a look at what's inside. There are 6 new factions included in this expansion, so let's take a real quick look at them. First, we have the Harpies. Now, Harpies give this extra movement symbol, and what that basically means is if you go on a journey, you'll pay 1 less for each of these symbols that you have, which makes it pretty useful. I mean, to have -1, it will save you money, and there's things like that. So the chariot here, or the spear. So they have different ways of flying here. And not to mention this, you can get extra defense for each flying you have when you're using that one. Then the enemies themselves, they work on distance. This is how far the journey is. So this is harder to hit when they're farther away. This has more of an attack when they're farther away. The air giant, you can discard this to make someone else get rid of their flying. That's mean. And then there's the blue dragon, which is a fantastic dragon, or at least a cool looking one, and you ignore all of those. So that's up to you. Then we have Medusa, or Medusae. I didn't know there was a plural of this word. These are pretty much the opposite here. These have weight, and that costs more to go and get something that's when you're journeying to get cards. Now that's negative, but then you look at, this is a 3. That's pretty powerful. And the tower shield, which is 2 and 2 defense there, that's pretty impressive. So I might take that there. Then you just can give one to somebody else. It gives them a victory point, but is that worth getting the weight? And then there's some pretty powerful monsters like Medusa, but then you're carrying her around. Or a chest here, which gives you 5 for each weight. That's pretty powerful. And 3 points, but then you're dragging it around. Then there's things like the Basilisk, who gives you 2 money for each weight. The Stone Giant, where you can discard to get 10 coins, or wait to the end of the game to get 3 points for each weight. Of the Ox, when you rest, you can take 1 coin for each weight. Of weight, discard, and it's 2 points for each weight. And then the Stone Dragon, which gives you 2 money for each weight and is worth 11 points at the end. So weight's a negative thing for sure, but I don't know that I care because the positives are awesome. After that, we have the Centaurs here. So Centaurs are all about the journeys, the distance. So for example here, 3 or more cost you less money. That's a pretty awesome one to saddle. Here you get plus defense when you're making a journey farther away. You can swap cards with this one. The longbow gives you +3 in journeys 3 or more. Makes sense. The Pegasus, which is a monster. I wasn't expecting that, but you can discard it to get a free journey, so that's kind of cool. And we have the Cyclops, of the Horse, Centaur, and then the Copper Dragon. After a journey on 3 or more, take 1. This is one of the easier people to add to the mix. I think they're one of the simpler factions that's included here. Then we have the mermaids, which look like the nasty mermaids, cabin in the wood style. These add pearls. So there's a whole bunch of pearl tokens that are included with this game here. And what you'll do is whenever you get a pearl token, you'll take one of these, and each turn you can use it once. And it lets you pay for money costs on cards. It doesn't let you pay for journeys, so it's like money but a little bit less useful, except that you get to keep them from turn to turn. And so this gives me 3 of them. 3 pearls here of water breathing. This gives a pearl, and that's pretty much it. Here's just a straight up pearl, an anchor, a triton. This is a monster. When you beat it, gives you a pearl. Of the shark, a mermaid. No pearls from this one here. But these get, this one here, the Kraken, gives you a point for each pearl. Book Mimic. I don't know why that one's underwater. Anyway, of growth. And then the deep sea dragon, which is 11, but ignores all your pearls. So the pearls are like a limited money, and it is a token that's pretty much only going to show up when you pick this particular faction. So that's the mermaids. Then we have the gladiators. Now, if you want direct conflict in the game, gladiators are your faction. Here you can duel somebody else, and basically you just attack them and they attack you. That's what it does. Well, it gives you 5 points after you defeat the champion. You can duel the player to your left. And then there's equipment that lets you duel people. Or I can duel a target player. And then there are cards that help you when you duel other people or give you benefits after dueling other people, which may be one of the reasons you want to do this. And then when there's a chain dragon, when dueling, you do not attack. Just defend, I guess, which doesn't seem useful, but that's a really cool piece of artwork. And then the final faction here are the mummies. So the mummies come with this desert token here. This is flipped at the beginning of the game, and it's going to help all monsters out by either lowering their health and increasing their attack, or the opposite. And so the sickle lets me double the effects. Why would I want to double it? Well, maybe I want them to have less attack. Or maybe I want them to have less health. It depends. Or I can ignore the desert token. Or when my turn ends, I can flip it. This scroll lets me bury it to flip it. When I beat the mummy, I flip the token. The scarab doubles the effect with it when I fight it. This doubles it when this monster's on the track in general. And then finally, the sand dragon, which doubles the desert token for you for the rest of the game. Also, some really cool art. You can also optionally play with banners and classes. When this happens, at the beginning of the game, you're going to get 2 random banners from here, and you'll get 2 random classes from here. And you're going to pick one of these, and this is going to replace your Enchanted Fist. So let's see, what do I want here? Troglodyte banner, that lets me unbury this card for 2 health. Or Vampiric banner, other players get -1 for every 5 wounds. Ooh, I want that one. And do I want of monks? Of miners. Bury the top or this one. All right, so I'll take the Vampiric banner of miners, and that's what I start with. And so what this does is it gives you a whole bunch of things, and you'll notice that these different banners, and this is not the Dice Tower logo at all, these different tokens here match many of the different factions that are in the game. But they all give you different benefits. So here, the messengers, for example, this gives you one of those light tokens that you start with. So it's easier for you to move around. The sculptors gives you one of these heavy tokens, but you start the game with an extra 20. That's worth it, and I would definitely take it. And I believe, yep, there's one that gives you a pearl. Stuff that goes with this game, but also with the ones in the beginning. And then, of course, there's that with the banners, too. And all the banners look pretty neat. So it's a lot of fun because you get a choice here, and you start out differently than everyone else. The game also comes with more cards, different areas that you can go fight in that kind of match the different things that are in the game, the different factions. There's also a new way to play the game cooperatively, where you'll fight one big mega boss, and there's a whole rule set on that, so you can all work together. And then that mega boss, by the way, comes with its own AI deck that you'll fight against here. Strike from the Shadows. And then you have this event deck, and you can shuffle a few events into the deck, and when they show up, you'll maybe, like, for example, this one attached to a monster, and this monster is +3 attack. All players have to discard one of these. Attached to the farthest item. So there's different things that you'll have here that you can just put in. The artwork's all the same on these, which is a little disappointing, but at least you don't get confused when an event shows up. And then there's a few other things, some more leaders and things, but there's quite a bit of content in this box. Nice little cool box, and you don't need it. Everything is easily going to fit in here. I don't have it in right now, but there's obviously plenty of room to put it all here. I've already tested it out. It fits really well. There's still, I think, over-laminating these big cards to the point where they bend. I guess it's better than them getting ripped up and stuff, but it's still, I feel like there's just too much linen finish on these. But other than that, great artwork, great quality cards, and I really like the various colors that they've done for these. I've always been happy with the component quality of this game, other than this weird linen finish here. So yeah, it's cool. This is, as I said at the beginning, more stuff. And more stuff makes me happy. If this just had the 6 new factions, I would be pleased by that. I really like them all. Well, the gladiators a little bit less. There's that direct conflict, and I don't really care about that direct conflict as much in the game, but I really like the lightness and the heavy fact. I like the token that flips over for the Egyptian side. It's really easy implementation. The pearls are easy, so I like that. The banners and the factions, I will use those every game. I mean, I will miss talking about my Enchanted Fist, but just having different abilities than everybody else is so much fun, and it's such an easy thing to implement. The events are okay. I know some people like that sort of thing. The game already sometimes will randomly have that cool card come out when you're there. To randomly have something negative happen to you also that comes out, that monster I was about to kill is much harder. I guess it's there. I just don't think I'll ever use it. And then the co-op thing is a pretty neat thing. You can play it, cooperatively, which is kind of counter what the gladiators, right, where you're attacking each other. Here you want to work together, and I think I like that better. Although I don't know that I like it better than just playing the base game as it is, but it does give a nice extra option to do. So that's actually quite a bit of content for a small expansion here. So lots of good in this one. Highly recommend it. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!